Sam sat by the window of his small apartment in Earth's orbital ring. He watched the blue curve of his home planet drift below him. 6 months ago, his closest friend, Lyra, had accepted a posting on the Mars orbital colony. First, he felt proud. She was doing great work in the science labs there. But now, Sam felt empty. Every star seemed farther away than before. The silence of his room pressed on him like a weight he could not lift. He reached out and touched the holophoto on his desk. He's how wah 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 wah. He reaches a yard. It's salad. Ba wah 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 He remembered her bright smile, the sound of her voice echoing in the night. He missed the way she would finish his sentences and tease him about his old starship models. He longed for the warmth of their shared jokes and quiet talks. But those moments felt like memories from another lifetime. Each day, Sam checked his panel at exactly the same time. He had sent dozens of messages to Lyra since she left, wrote long letters every week about his life on the hydroponic farms. He told her about the new art pieces he saw in the station's gallery. He described the soft wind that sometimes slipped in through the airlock. But her replies were always short. Glad to hear from you, or hope you're well. Understood that her work was important and busy. Yet he ached for more detail, more laughter, more of her. They had tried live video calls at first. Sam remembered floating in 0G, gesturing wildly at the camera, while Lyra chuckled as she drifted past chemical towers on Mars. Then the calls began to freeze, cut out, or drop entirely. The colony's network bandwidth was limited. Became rare. Sam felt the gap widen each time the screen went dark. He felt like he stood on the shore, watching a ship vanish beyond the horizon. No matter how hard he called, her voice grew fainter. One rainy evening on the station, Sam wandered into an old tech shop on the lower deck. The air smelled of oil and dust. Antique devices lined the walls. He told the shopkeeper, Marek, how he wanted to feel close to Lyra again. Marek pulled down a small, dusty Objecta homemade signal booster built by a retired communications engineer. He said it could push Sam's voice a bit farther. It was not perfect, but it was something. Sam traded most of his savings for the device. He held it in his hand and felt a spark of hope light up inside him. Back in his apartment, Sam connected the booster to his COM unit. He spoke into the mic, his voice soft and steady. Lyra, he said, I miss you. He told her about his day, about the flowers he grew in the farm bays. He told her about the books he read late into the night. He waited, picturing her smiling face, but all he heard was static and the hum of machinery. The booster glowed briefly, then went dark. The line stayed silent. Sam felt a chill of disappointment wash over him. He sank into his chair and pressed his head against the cool window. His chest tightened with longing. He closed his eyes and remembered Lyra's belief in him. She had always said he could fix any broken thing. He realized that if he felt stuck now, he had to act. He had to show the human spirit or drive to connect and to hope. He rose from his chair with new resolve. Sam cleared his desk and brought out a blank holopad. He took a deep breath and began to type. He poured his heart into the message. He told Lyra why he felt distant. He told her how her absence left a quiet ache in every corner of his life. He wrote about the booster and its failure. He wrote about the moments he held his breath, waiting for her voice. He admitted he did not know how to bridge the gap between them, but he promised he would try. As he typed, his sadness softened into strength. His words grew steady and sure. He remembered that humans never give up when faced with a challenge. He remembered that hope could travel faster than any signal. He pressed send and watched the holopad shimmer as the message joined the network. Stream to Mars. Sam did not know when Lyra would read his words. He did not know what she would say. But he had reached across the void. He had shown his care and his hope. He had shown that, no matter the distance, human hearts could beat together. He returned to the window and watched Earth's lights glow in the night. A new day was coming, he whispered. I will find you, Lyra, and held on to that promise. In the quiet hum of the station, he felt his heart lift. He felt that even the darkest silence could be broken by the sound of hope. And that was enough to make the stars feel closer once more. Sam woke before dawn the next day. He hovered the holopad over his desk and watched the message he had sent to Lyra float on the screen. The delivery status still read in transit. He expected nothing back for days. His heart felt heavy. But he held on to the small spark of hope he had ignited. He told himself that humans never give up on the people they care about. Even across millions of kilometers and noisy networks, they find a way to reach one another. He moved through his morning chores on the station with quiet determination. He tended to the farm bays, pruning bright green vines that curled toward the lights. He fixed a broken gauge on the water recycler and polished the control panels until they gleamed. Each task felt emptier without Lyra's laugh echoing beside him. Still, he worked with care. He thought that if he showed the same devotion to his station's life systems, he could find a way to show his devotion to his friend. In the afternoon, he ventured into the station's older quadrant. There, he found a dusty holodomen, old virtual reality chamber that few people used. The dome's glass surface was scratched, and the control console looked ancient. But Sam remembered the first time he and Lyra had tried it together. They had walked through an alien meadow, chasing glowing pollinators. He smiled at the memory, thought. If the dome still worked, he could use it to send Lyra more than words. He could send her an experience. Sam spent hours cleaning the holodome and repairing its circuits. Sparks flew once, and he flinched, but he kept going. His hands shook when he reattached a broken fiber optic cable. He recalled how humans could mend things by sheer will, and that thought gave him strength. When he finished, he powered on the dome. The lights inside pulsed softly, and the console beeped to life. Sam let out a breath he did not know he'd been holding. He configured the holodome to record his memories. He set up a simple scene, a recreated corner of his apartment, with the view of Earth hanging outside the window. Then he added his own voice. In the recording, he walked around the room, touching the holo photo of him and Lyra. He spoke into the mic, how he felt their bond, how he missed her jokes, and how he believed they could bring their friendship back to life. He left blank moments in the recording so she could speak back, to fill the silence with her voice. Next, he asked station friends to help. Juno, the engineer who taught him how to solder, offered to build a portable version of the holodomes. Recorder Marcellus, the musician, agreed to compose a simple melody to play underneath Sam's words. Even people who barely knew Lyra came by to lend a hand, moved by Sam's hope. Each time he saw someone smile at his plan, he felt less alone. He realized how humans rally around each other. When one person reaches out, others follow. When the VR message was ready, Sam faced another challenge: how to send the large data packet to Mars. The colony's network could not carry such heavy files. He arranged for a cargo shuttle that traveled once a week to stop by the station. He compressed the data onto a crystal drive and tucked it into a cargo container labeled Human Moments. He wrote Lyra's name on the side in neat letters. He added a metal token. He had carved a small star to remind her of the night sky they both loved. On launch day, Sam stood in the bay as the shuttle doors closed. He whispered, "I'll always find you," and tapped the container. The shuttle's engines roared to life, and it lifted off toward a constellation of distant worlds, until it became a tiny speck of light against the blackness. His chest felt tight, but he felt a surge of pride. He had built something with his own hands. He had bridged the gap between them with more than words. He had shown that human hope could build paths across space. That evening, Sam returned to his window and gazed at the shimmer of Earth in the distance. He imagined Lyra stepping into the Mars colony's Hala Theater and seeing his message unfold around her. He pictured her voice answering his questions in the blank spaces. He pictured her laughter echoing inside the dome. He did not know when she would respond, but he knew she would hear him. He knew that, no matter how far apart they were, human hearts could still meet. In the quiet hum of the station, Sam smiled and held on to that idea. He felt the stars grow a little closer, carried by his hope and his undying belief in their friendship. Sam woke at dawn again, hopeful and nervous. He floated to his console and pressed the status button. The message was delivered, but no reply yet. He felt a pang of sadness. Still, he remembered that humans never lose hope. He moved through his morning chores on the station's garden deck. He pruned bright green ferns and tested the water filters. He cleaned the solar panels until they shone. Each task felt empty without Lyra's voice, but he worked with care, believing that the human will to endure could shorten any distance. In the afternoon, Sam visited the station's communications hub. The hub was a large room filled with consoles and cables. He greeted the radio operators, who were busy at their stations. He asked about the cargo shuttle. They told him it had arrived at Mars 2 days ago. His heart raced. They said the VR message was unloaded safely and delivered to the colony's public media network. Sam's face lit up. He hurried back to his apartment and checked the station's network feed. Found a link labeled Moments from Earth Station. He clicked it. A loading bar crept across the screen. Then his message appeared inside a virtual theater. He felt his voice fill the dome of the hollow arc. He heard his own words echo, "I miss you, Lyra." He watched the scene he recorded, hearing the music Marcellus had composed. He felt tearful and proud at once, yet still no direct reply from Lyra. He gazed at the red orb of Mars, far below. He wondered how she was, what she felt. But for now, he focused on hope. He believed that if he kept sending messages, one day she would answer. He left the network feed and entered the station's workshop. He gathered metal scraps and small motors. He sketched a plan for a new device, a signal beacon. It would send a simple call and response code that Lyra could trigger. It would require little bandwidth. He worked late into the night, soldering circuits under a single lamp. His eyes tired, but his hands kept moving. He knew humans could invent solutions when they felt love. The next morning, Sam installed the beacon on the station's exterior. It jutted into space like a small flower made of metal. He activated it and waited. The beacon pulsed rhythmic signals. Dot, dash, dot, dash, the pattern of their shared joke. Each pulse felt like a heartbeat reaching out. He hoped Lyra would see it in the clear Martian sky and send a reply. Days passed. Sam watched the beacon's logs. It sent pulses every hour. He imagined Lyra watching the signal blink at the logs. Showed no reply. He felt discouraged. Wanted to give up, but he could not. He thought of his mother telling him that humans hold hope in their hands. That thought was enough to drive him onward. That evening, he invited friends to the station's common area. He told them about the beacon. He asked them to help amplify the signal. Some brought spare antennas. Others offered lenses to focus light. Together, they built a larger array on the station's hull. It glowed gently in the darkness. Sam felt a surge of pride. He looked at the faces around him and saw smiles. They believed in his quest. When the array was online, they gathered to test it. Sam pressed the button. Light and sound pulsed into space. The group stood silent, listening for a reply. For a moment, nothing happened. Then the console beeped. A small packet arrived through the network. It was not a voice message. It was a photograph. In the dim light of the screen, Sam saw Lyra's face, smiling softly. She held a small model of the station's beacon that someone on Mars had built. Sam's heart soared. He held back a tear. He touched the screen gently. The station erupted in cheers. Strangers hugged each other. He realized that human spirit was stronger when people worked together, that hope could travel across millions of kilometers, and that, even in the vast silence of space, A single light could guide two hearts back to each other. Sam printed the photo and placed it. Beside the hollow photo on his desk, he spoke softly into the mic. "I see you, Lyra." He waited, but this time he was not afraid of silence. He smiled and said, "I will find you soon." He knew their friendship would grow stronger with each message and every single shared moment. He felt alive. His hope was a flame that no silence could ever extinguish. In the gentle glow of the beacon, he felt closer to her than ever before. The stars felt less distant, and his hope burned brighter than any signal. Sam woke before dawn, his heart still racing from the moment he saw Lyra's photograph. He floated into the empty corridor of the station and pressed his palm against the cold metal wall. The image of her smiling face, holding the little beacon model, glowed in his memory. For the first time in months, he felt close to her. Yet he still longed to hear her voice across the stars. He climbed the spiral stairs to the communications hub and found the chief engineer. Juno hunched over a console. Sam cleared his throat and said, "I want to bring Lyra's voice back to me. I think we can build a small relay satellite to boost our link to Mars." Juno looked tired, but curious. "Quick test," she said. "If you can work with the team, we might pull it off." Sam spent the next hour sketching diagrams on a scrap of data paper. He thought of human inventors who built wonders out of scraps. He remembered his mother's stories of early explorers who crossed oceans with little more than hope and a strong ship. He shared his ideas with Marcellus, who offered to write simple software to manage the satellite's communications, and with Merrick, who could adapt old hardware. In every face he saw belief. That belief became Sam's fuel. They set up a makeshift workshop in the docking bay. Scraps of antenna and transponders lay scattered across the floor. Sam soldered circuits under a flickering lamp while his new friends tested signal crystals and fine-tuned frequencies. The station hummed with energy as people from different departments pitched in. Some brought tools, others carried coffee and biscuits. Sam realized that when humans care, they gather around a shared purpose and lift each other up. After 3 days, the small satellite lay on a support cradle. Solar panels jutted like petals, ready to catch sunlight, and its dish glowed under station lights. Sam ran the final checks. He felt sweaty palms and a racing heart. Juno brought him a datapad that held the launch sequence. Sam tapped the screen and watched the cradle unlock. The satellite drifted into the station's external bay. He and a handful of colleagues suited up and moved outside in EVA gear. The blackness of space stretched endlessly around them. Sam's hands shook slightly as he guided the satellite into position on the rail. He tightened the final bolts and activated its thrusters. Soft glow from the satellite's tiny engines pushed it away from the station. It began its journey to hover between Earth's ring and the red planet. Back inside, Sam opened the control console. A live telemetry feed filled the screen. Satellite aligned itself and beamed a test signal toward Mars. On the panel, Sam heard a clear ping, a single perfect note. He grinned so wide his helmet might not have fit. The station broke into applause. Sam felt like a human hero in a story, one who dared to connect to distant worlds. They scheduled the first live call for that evening. Sam hurried back to his apartment and cleared his desk of scrap tools. He set up the holoprojector and arranged the chair so he could face the viewport. He rehearsed what he would say, imagining Lyra's shocked smile when she heard him through the new link. He felt both nervous and excited, like an explorer about to step onto new ground. When the hour arrived, Sam tapped the call icon. The satellite relayed his signal to Mars and waited. The screen flickered, and for a moment there was only darkness. Then Lyra appeared, her hair floating in Mars's low gravity as she sat in her labscom booth. Her eyes widened and she covered her mouth with her hand. Sam's heart leapt. "Lyra," he managed to say, voice thick with hope. "Can you hear me?" She nodded, tears glimmering in her eyes. "I hear you, Sam," she whispered. His own tears blurred the holoprojector's light. He laughed softly, relief washing through him like sun on water. They spoke of small things at first: the station's new garden, the taste of fresh bread on Mars, the way the sunlight looked on her instruments. Every word felt precious. They filled the empty spaces with shared laughter and happy memories. Sam told her about the satellite and thanked her for inspiring him to keep trying. Lyra said she had watched his VR message many times and that it gave her strength on long nights. She told him about her experiments and how much she missed walking together in the holodome. They promised to keep talking and planning new ways to share moments. When the call ended, Sam sank into his chair, breathless and joyful. He gazed out at the stars, feeling them pulse with promise. He knew their friendship had crossed a new barrier. He held on to the thought that humans never stop reaching for each other, no matter how vast the space between them. Adorned. Of the station, Sam felt closer to Lyra than ever before, and his hope burned brighter than any light in the galaxy. Sam woke before dawn, feeling a light warmth inside his chest. He drifted to the station window and watched the first pale light spill across the ring. The call with Lyra still warmed him after so many silent days. He pressed his hand against the glass and whispered, "We will meet soon." Each word felt like a promise across the void. After his morning chores, Sam met Juno at the communications hub. He said, "Let us plan for us to be together in person." Juno smiled and nodded. "I will help," she said softly. They found Marcellus and Marek in the workshop, and each joined Sam's plan with eager hearts. Sam said, "I have written to Earth Command for a transfer slot to Mars." Marek said, "I will help review your request." Marcellus said, "I will compose a song to celebrate your journey." Over the next weeks, Sam prepared his transfer. He packed a single bag with a handful of gifts for Lyra, a hollow photo of them in the virtual meadow, a small model of their shared garden, and a book filled with every message he had sent. Each item was a token of his hope. He spoke at length with officials about risks and safety checks. He passed medical exams and trained for Mars's lower gravity. He learned to walk in simulation under a blush pink sky. Every step reminded him that humans adapt and endure. At last the day came. Sam boarded the shuttle that hummed with life. The engines rumbled deep in his bones, and he held the garden model tight against his heart. He pressed a final note into its data port, sending one more message carried in light and earth. The shuttle climbed through thin air, past the glow of the station. Sam watched Earth fade into a pale blue marble. A hush fell over the cabin, broken only by Marcellus's gentle tune playing through the cum. Sam closed his eyes and breathed deep, holding each chord in his mind. The flight took 2 days of steady. Cruising, he spent the time reading letters and listening to the music his friends had made. Each word felt like a lifeline, each note a heartbeat that carried him onward. He imagined Lyra waiting in her lab coveralls on the dusty platform. When the shuttle finally landed, Sam felt his heart drum in his chest. He stepped onto the Martian soil and felt the fine dust crunch under his boots. He breathed in the filtered air and looked across the platform, where the red dunes met a pink horizon. Then he saw Lyra standing there, her eyes wide and shining. She ran forward and wrapped her arms around him. They held each other without words. In that silent hug, they shared every hope and fear across the years of distance. He pulled back and saw her tears glisten. She said, "You came. Promised I would." They walked together along the dusty path into the colony center, where warm lights glowed against the red dust. Lyra introduced him to her teammates, each smiling at his arrival. They welcomed Sam with simple joys of shared bread and laughter. Blending flavors of Earth and Mars into one, Sam told stories of the station's gardens and Juno's careful hands. Lyra shared tales of her experiments and the long, lonely nights in the labs. They spoke of the human will to connect and the hope that had carried them across every light year. Later that evening, Sam and Lyra climbed to a high viewing platform. The twin suns dipped low, painting the sky in orange and violet hues. They stood hand in hand, listening to the wind whisper through the habitat domes. "We did this," Lyra said softly, her voice full of wonder. Sam nodded and replied, "We never let distance break us." Under the twin suns, they shared a gentle kiss and watched the stars fade into the Martian night. Sam knew that if hope could bridge their hearts, it could light any darkness. Together at last, they stood on this new world, certain that human spirit and care could carry them wherever they chose to go.